Hello, and thank you for joining me. Some parish notes, if you will, before we get kicked off. Last week's book, Otter Country, I thought it was very clever because there was only one book in the bibliography. I'm like, ooh, I want to have that. Now, I'm not giving that Jeff Bezos Bond villain guy more of my money, so I went to Thrift Books and ordered this lovely book, Finding Your Way Without Map or Compass. And as soon as I opened it up and started leafing through it, I was like, uh-oh. Already have it. So it's pretty clear to me that what I probably ought to do is create a database spreadsheet of here are all the books we have, author, title, category, if you will, and which shelf it's on, and me organize my life. It could happen. But it's not a crisis because one of the things I've been working on with our scout troop is a book club, more on that in a bit, and a portable field library. So this copy will go in the portable field library. It's very good for that because not only is it a woodcraft themed, but each of the chapters is discrete. So you get a lot from reading it cover to cover, but you could also pick up the book at any point and read one of the chapters and get a lot out of it. So I'm not distressed, but do better, Harold. Okay. All right, this week's book, How to Win an Information War by Peter Pomerantsev. I'm sorry, my Ukrainian and my Russian are absolutely terrible, so I am not going to be able to pronounce his name anything like the way it should be pronounced, and I apologize for that. Peter was born in what was the Soviet Union, but actually is Ukraine. When he's young, his family is able to leave for the United Kingdom, which is, as we're going to see, very important for biographical detail. After the fall of the Soviet Union and all that, he goes to Moscow. He's working as a journalist and in media. Things get very interesting there, and that's really the subject of his first book. Back to the UK, calling out misinformation and all that. Right. His second book on propaganda I haven't read, so just as this prompted me to I'm going to read one more book. In that case, I already read it. Reading this book reminded me, oh, right, his second book I haven't read. I should go back and read it at some point. Essentially, this book is the biography and other things, if you will, of a gentleman who, British, but born in Germany. His father teaches English at a university in Berlin. World War I breaks out. Things go ugly fast, and he's watching people turn against him and the propaganda and all that. His family is ultimately able to leave for England through a neutral country. Feels very awkward in the UK, but okay, we're safe here. Goes to Berlin in the 1930s as a journalist, and he's able to get inside the inner Nazi circle and meet Hitler and Goebbels and all that and see them in action. Oh boy. Gets out before things go completely sideways. Working as a journalist, he's able during the war to join the I think it's the Ministry of Economic Warfare, but if you read the book, you can look up all the exact particulars, and work on propaganda to defeat the Nazis. And it starts with something that could be considered so-called black propaganda. We've got this Prussian conservative, he's very pro-Germany, but he's calling out Nazi corruption and malfeasance, and it's their chief and all that. And then at some point that's not working anymore, so they create a second program that is meant as gray propaganda. Like, this could be coming out of Germany, but maybe it's not. I don't know. But if your boss or the SS or the Gestapo catches you listening, you can say, oh, I thought it was a German broadcast. And they were doing some things to hack when German radio stations would go down because of a bombing raid and they knew it was coming. They would immediately kick in with the program, and people listening would think it's a continuation of the program. So This is a study of this man's life and his experiences creating propaganda to fight evil, and then what can we do with that in this age of disinformation. So it's very topical, very on point. Unfortunately, this book doesn't. It has questions. It has some answers. It doesn't have a solution. This is a very, very serious problem that we, as a world, are facing. Some thoughts I have. One, by all means, listen to what this man has to say. Read his writings. They are very helpful. There is the Ukrainian media program Stop Fake. They will take Russian lies and break down how, like, nope, this is actually what happened, and here are the receipts. It has an English language version. I recommend that. There's some other people, and we can put some links in the end on that. Bellingcat is another one that immediately comes to mind that's doing open source stuff and saying, like, no, this is what really happened. On a more personal note, a friendship of mine died recently, and I would say in large measure because of misinformation. It's been on life support or in zombie mode for 10 or 20 years now. We don't live near each other, we barely see each other, but it was a legacy friendship. It had some real value at one time. But I'm not going to go too far because other people's stories are not ours to tell, and this ex-friend, who I may still care about as a person and still have some measure of respect for, is not going to have the opportunity to rebut what I say. So suffice to say this, it's very clear that besides some anti-Semitism and some other problematic views, he's gone down the Russian rabbit hole, is probably the best way to put it. And he's perfectly okay with the war on Ukrainian Nazis. And what happened is there was a text chain, and someone made the observation about the Ukrainian hit on the Russian general who was in charge of their chemical warfare and war crimes and all that. And I didn't say anything about it really until like that came on. I'm like, yeah, well, it was a nice piece of work. And then he's like, take me off this Russian phobic text chain or whatever. Okay. But I did push back with, like, you know, my friend Anna spent 3 nights in a basement in Potavia because of this invasion. And apparently that ended it. So there you go. It's going to get worse. The Kremlin is constantly pushing out misinformation, and the people who get caught taking their coin continue to push this stuff out and be accepted. We're seeing oligarchs now generating misinformation. We have to learn how to identify it, how to call it out, how to get real information, honest information, facts, because democracy cannot survive without integrity, without facts, without truth. Oof, that wasn't a lot of fun. Next week's book, which will also tie into the Scout Troops Book Club, I think will be a lot more fun. I certainly hope so. Thank you very much for joining me, and please take care.